Aloha mai kako, how for cook pan laulau. Very simple, especially for those living in America that don't have all the resources of living in Hawaii and they just want that laulau for eat. So 3 ingredients: your lū'au leaf. This lū'au leaf we just harvested from Boxer Gardens at Pacific University, where we are growing our own kalo here in Oregon. Second ingredient is Hawaiian salt. This makes a huge difference of how it comes out and how it tastes. And then lastly is the pork butt or pork shoulder here. And make sure you wash your hands. Okay, dry them up. We want to be clean. You need a knife, a cutting board, 1 large pan, 1 bowl, actually 2 bowls, and then some tin foil. Okay, the first thing you want to do is wash off your leaves or your lau. Like I said, we just harvested this yesterday, and so there might be a little bit of dirt. Sometimes you see the some of the sap from the stems. Look at that. That's a beautiful leaf, right? And then if it's too big, sometimes you might have to peel this off. That's the skin on the veins of the lau, right? Because sometimes this could make it itchy, which is why we cut off the stems as well. You can add the stems, but we are not going to use it here. If you do use the stems, remember to peel off the skin like so, because if you don't, if you eat it, you will get an itchy throat. And so I'm just showing you as an example, but we are not going to use it in this recipe. That's how a clean stem should look like, or a ha. So now you got your clean lau or your leaves. It's time to cut the pork. Now, if you're from Hawaii, you know this as pork butt. In stores here in America, I am in Oregon right now, and this is pork shoulder, right? So sometimes it gets bloody, so it's good to just kind of go with a paper towel, damp it up. Some of the blood that falls off when you have when you open the bag for the first time. And in this pork shoulder is with bone in. So right now we're just gonna cut until we can get that bone out. And we're not gonna worry about getting all the meat off the bone. Just want to get a chunk of it and get it out. We're gonna use that later. So with the rest of your meat, you're gonna cut it into strips. What we're looking for is about 1-inch strips. And then cut them long ways again. And when you get it all cut up, what we're gonna do is go cut 1-inch cubes. Now you don't have to cube it, right? You could use the meat as strips. I like to cube it just because it helps with cooking time. And you can see the meat has a good chunk of meat and fat on it. And then you get all your meat cut up. Clean your surface. And now we're gonna move on to the leaves, right? What we're gonna do is grab a handful of leaves or lau, roll it up, and we're just gonna chop it. Chop it up like so. Right. And just like the meat, we're just doing this to help speed up the cooking process, because we're gonna throw this in the oven and it does take a few hours to cook. Right. You can also chop it one way, and if you want, chop it the other way. Again, not necessary, but an option. Just gonna keep going with all our lau. Bam. So right there, a full bowl of lau. This is just over 2 pounds. And then for our pork butt, we have, or pork shoulder, we have just over 8 pounds. And I would probably keep that ratio, that 2 to 8, 1 to 4 lū'au to pork butt. We're gonna preheat our oven to 350 and start with our pan. Oil your pan. Just get a thin layer all around. Use a paper towel to move it around, and start off with a thick layer of lū'au on the bottom, followed by a thick layer of meat. Spread it out evenly. Your first layer, typically you want the thickest. And then take your Hawaiian salt and salt. Now you don't need a lot of salt because you're gonna salt every layer of meat. Second layer of lū'au, and then meat. And then you're gonna salt it. Add another layer. Add more meat. Salt again. It looks like I'm putting a lot, but I promise it's not too much. And then, bam, we're gonna top it off with that bone, that extra meat on it. That bone will help with the flavor as it cooks in the oven. And then pack in the last of the lū'au all around, and then cover it up with a tin foil. By now, your oven should be preheated. Throw that baby in there. You set a timer for 45 minutes. And then when it's done, bring it out, and you're gonna check it every 45 minutes. You can also check it at every hour until you hit the 4-hour mark. Right. Your first check, it should look something like this, where the leaves are a little burnt. The meat is only partially cooked. And there should be a small puddle of juice on the bottom from the meat and the leaves. And you're just gonna press and stir it up a little. And you're gonna repeat that process every 45 minutes or 1 hour if you want, until you reach the 4-hour mark. And here we're gonna pull it out at 4 hours. And we're gonna look at our progress. Woo! And that bone, all the meat should have fallen off by now. Take that bone out, and we're just gonna stir it up a little. And our pan laulau is essentially done. Look at that. Somebody look at that. Sheesh. You take your utensil and just keep breaking down that meat. It should all fall apart by now. Look at that juice. You should not need to add any sort of broth or anything. But let's try it out. Get some rice, your favorite Simon bowl, and pile that thing in there. Remember to get some juice. Let's try it out. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Pan laulau, very simple, 3 ingredients. Real easy. Takes a little while, but totally worth it. And we got from here to here, just like that. Mahalo nui. Have a good day. Enjoy your pan laulau.